Alright, guys, I'm just getting over a sick illness and I'm stuck on the highway. Okay, yeah, so I'm gonna be more active on my channel for a variety of reasons. I'll be announcing something soon, and obviously, probably don't have a lot of, I don't know how many people rewatch my videos. They're pretty outdated. Well, they're not. I mean, the information's very relevant, but it's just been a while. So, I'm gonna be more engaged with it, and I kind of, I don't know, I have a love-hate kind of feeling about re-engaging with this type of stuff, because as I'm trying, getting better and moving on and trying to forget it, can sometimes kind of come back. The more you talk about it, because that's one of the things that I teach is not to talk about it. Oh, yeah, that's what you hear about. So, for purposes, sorry, this thing keeps wanting to fall off here. This video, sun's in my eyes. But I wanted to talk about depression, like the basics, which a lot of people know, but surprisingly, interestingly, a lot of people don't know. Just like with anything, I think I've sort of been, I'm a veteran of it, and I've been through it for so long that some of it just like sort of like becomes to me like basic knowledge. Like, oh, yeah, obviously. But no, it's not like that. Like, people start having, symptoms, and then they don't know what's going on. And so the first thing I want to say is that, and I apologize for if I tangent a little bit. Depression comes in many forms, okay, and it can affect a lot of people differently. And it can be, it's on a spectrum, and it could be from a 1 to a 10. And then there's people that are in all different stages of depression. So there are people that are just starting depression, pre-depression, right? Like in a stressful situation that's going to end up leading to depression, all the way to the people on the other end that have recovered from depression. Okay, so it's important to know that you will get better. Okay, that you will be on the other end of it, no matter what stage of it you are in. And for me, it's kind of like, for me, it's like an autoimmune condition in which it's like, okay, it'll never go away. Accepting that, but that I'll be better, and gotten a lot better. So, like periods of remission. So, for me, like right now, I've regressed, and learning what causes you to regress. For me, it's like a lot of people, like stress. Can't handle a lot of stress because I have a lot of anxiety, and my anxiety sort of like and depression, they go hand in hand. Also, so depression can be mild, as we talked about, or it can be major depressive disorder. These are just tools that doctors try to use to label the severity of it. So, how do you describe depression? Like, some people, there's a stigma, or especially in older cultures, like if you try to explain to, I've heard somebody explain to their grandmother, like, oh, you just need to get another job. If you just need to get another job, you just need to do more things, and so that often hurts. So when you're surrounding yourself with people who are trying to get acceptance or understanding, especially in different cultures that don't appreciate, and even in this one in America, I mean, my mom, like, didn't understand it at all. She's like, oh, well, I feel depressed too. But when you're deeply depressed, I mean, I've had people where they can't even get out of bed, that I've coached, literally. I mean, they can't even, and they're great parents, they're like a great mother, but she can't even get out of bed to feed her own kids. So, if that's the case, I mean, that's severe depression, and it's a disease. It's you might not be able to see it in the form of like boils on your skin, or under a microscope, or a CT scan. So it's just these symptoms where people sort of think that they're all in your head, and so what? Yeah, okay. Well, they are all in your head-ish, because they're the chemicals in your head that have been disoriented. Okay, so at least a lot of the science is starting to back up and take away the stigmas of depression, but depression for me feels like, and this is for me, and I'm interested in hearing your comments, like what it's like for you. Because again, like mine's, I suffer with a lot more of like the anxiety level. And I'll talk about that some other time, but just a general sense of emptiness. It's like silence is almost like noise. It's almost deafening. I just feel like sometimes I'm walking around in this world that it's just not real. And it's really odd, you know, and that's what leads to anxiety for me. Like, I start to feel, I just feel like detached, can't think clearly, and just like, what is this? Where am I? I mean, I know where I'm at, but at the same time, I feel foreign. I don't feel like, nothing looks quite the same. Even if you're familiar with your surroundings, things can feel flat, or like there's color, but there's not. So just to describe it, I mean, it's literally like, it's like there's no sound. It's kind of like when the power goes out and you hear the electricity cut off, and just, and I'm like, wow, that's really weird, that, you know, that I can't hear those noises. I never knew that they were making noises. I don't know, it's just something like, it's this subtle thing that just kind of takes over, and then all of a sudden you find yourself feeling buoyant and vacant, and you're like a vacant house just walking around where maybe you can see furniture, but it doesn't really exist. You try to sit on it and you fall on the floor. You could use a lot of metaphors, but all in all, it just feels empty. And for some people, it's susceptible to anxiety. Like, those feelings are very scary. When you can't connect on that level that you know you should be able to, that you used to be able to, and again, I've been on the other side of both sides of it, and I really hate it, because I'm like, okay, this is working, this medication, I'm feeling it, I'm doing good, I'm on my way. And literally a few hours later, or the next day, and this is just for me, I could be on a distant planet, like, oh, I'm never gonna get better, and I'm like, well, why? What? Like, I was doing pretty good the other day, and I was really looking forward to things again. So I really haven't quite figured out what in the world I can do to sustain myself in that. So I am taking medications, and without the medications, I would not even be able to be doing the things that I'm doing. So on that level of functionality, I'm really grateful. Okay. So serotonin, that's a myth. They all know now that serotonin. I'm not a doctor, but these are from well-established studies. That serotonin is not like the reason for depression. The first depression medication that was used did raise serotonin. They didn't know how it worked. They knew it raised that, but did a bunch of other stuff too. And they just said, oh, okay, well, that must be it. Some people, even like me, like if I raise serotonin, I get panic attacks. So some people raise other chemicals that cause anxiety, and it lowers their anxiety. So it's very hard. We're very in the kind of primitive era of pharmacology, and now we're starting to realize that there's so many modalities. Like it's crazy. Literally LSD and ketamine and like all these hallucinogenics, which would make me completely anxious. Like I would even just talking about. So, but they're curing people because they're resetting the brain. So it's all about neuroplasticity. When you suffer with chronic stress, it's a downward spiral. Depression causes stress, and stress causes depression. So you're just cycling. Anxiety causes depression. Depression causes anxiety. So you get in a loop. And in that loop, as the farther you go down, the worse your symptoms can get, because the more you're depleting your stress-relieving chemicals, and then the more symptoms you're going to have. So how do you break that? You can break that through a lot of different modalities, but that's not really what we're talking about. But yeah, depression sucks. It's like being on a spaceship all of a sudden, like waking up on a spaceship and not knowing where you're going. Sometimes it's how it feels to me. Like I'm scared. Like I don't even know where I'm going to get to. Switching gears a little bit for me personally. I'm going to be making content. This is just kind of a video collage of ideas, just because I wanted to engage again the audience. But my biggest problem is traveling, agoraphobia, I guess, maybe. Like, I have all this fear of going away from home, my comfort zone, because of years of chronic pain and illness, and also, that I had. And I developed like a fear of being away from a bathroom and a toilet due to my bladder issues and the pain that driving would cause, actually, the bumping and so even as I've gotten better, the stress of even going somewhere can actually even trigger, that's the irony, it can trigger some of the side effects that I experience to increase, further make me say, okay, yeah, I should stay at home. And then the brain fog and confusion. So if I'm going out of town to see my brother, and then I feel awful and foggy, and it's just reinforcing my brain that I shouldn't do those things. So it's really hard to find